doing half measures is better than doing nothing, but it can actually cause you heartache. You've done something, but you have not fully done it well. You made a chair, but you're not careful about doing quality control. You'll sit on it, but one of the days it will break on you and it could even harm you. All because you left out one item, quality control. And there's a temptation to not do work to its total completion. Once it looks good, acceptable, why not stop there? Doing work in half measures is certainly better than doing nothing. But is that all you can manage? I think there are consequences if you don't fully do what you expected of you. And it will bring you suffering later in life if you do not do all you are supposed to do. You know, just a small example. The word of God is clear. Marry a Christian. Two do not work together unless they are agreed. Do not be unequally yoked with a believer. So two of you are Christians, you are friends, and you want to marry, except one small detail, you feel like, what would be the use of not having sex before the wedding? After all, we're wedding next month. And you actually go ahead and have sex before the wedding. You have not fully met the requirements for preparing for marriage. Because one of the things is to wait. When what you leave may even be very small, sometimes we wonder why bother? It's too small. We've done 99% of the work. Why bother with this? But that 1% may be a clincher. It may be the thing that was going to make you go places, but you don't do it. Back to my example of people who look right for each other, they love the Lord, then they decide on one small bit they can have sex a month before the wedding. That is likely to haunt them in life. Then you ask yourself, if I hadn't slept with her, could I have dropped her? But now I felt obliged because I realized she could be pregnant. And I didn't want her to be embarrassed with a child out of wedlock, or me to have a child out of wedlock. Now, in marriage, it keeps haunting you. As you ask yourself, did I marry her because of having had sex with her? Or is it because I loved her and I was convinced this is God's choice for me? Every time you have a disagreement in your marriage, the devil uses that to actually destroy your marriage. Yes, it's a small thing, very small. You do not even have sex twice, only once. But the devil will use it for the rest of the life. So you need to understand that however small what you are regarding so small is, you better be careful to fulfill everything. My friend, working in half measures is a temptation of many people. Sure, the work sounds almost standard. That's why you buy things and they don't quite come to the level of the promise. We are full of people who do not regard mediocrity as something to be avoided. Once it's acceptable, good enough. After all, I'm giving you a discount. A discount will not make something bad good. Okay, yeah, I'll pay for less, but I'll still end up disappointed. And I may never buy any item from you, although you actually give me a discount. Because I will never be sure whether your products can ever be trusted. So a small thing which you did not complete makes you lose business long term. May we come to where we know whatever we put our hands to do, we must do it as unto the Lord, which means to perfection, to our best abilities. And we do quality control to ensure nothing is associated with us that's not well done, perfectly done. Don't do things in half measures or just to acceptable level. Do them to the very best. And what that will mean is they will not haunt you later, and they could actually market you. Look at Joshua 16 verse 10. We are talking about the people of Ephraim. Remember, Joshua was conquering the land together. They were all doing. But by the time Joshua now subdivides the land, each person was to conquer their area. Each tribe was to conquer their area. Let's see about Ephraim. They did not dislodge the Canaanites living in Gaza to this day. The Canaanites live among the people of Ephraim, but are required to do forced labor. It doesn't sound like there was inability to actually do the job well. Because if you are forcing them to do labor, it means you could have eliminated them. The command of God was total extermination of all Canaanites. Why? Because God says their sin had reached its zenith and they were to be totally destroyed. But you know, the Ephraimites did a good job. They killed many of them, but they left a number and they made them do some hard work. But you know, those are the people they later intermarry with. And those are the people who later turn them away from Jehovah to worship of other gods. And those are the people who make them finally displeasing to the Lord, and they end up in captivity. You leave a small thing, it ends destroying you. So, in which area are you working in half measures? You are doing something, but you are not fully in it. Is it in trusting God? You trust Him for certain areas? Certain areas? That's me. That's my personal area. I can achieve that without God. Where does God come in here? Yet in other areas, you are totally dependent upon God. Somebody said, and I agree with him, you are either all His or not His at all. God does not want a part of you. He wants either all of you or none of you. But you know, if you are the guys who do have measures, you want to be a Christian up to a point. But you want some independence where you run your own things and you don't have to consult God or do it biblical way. My friend, if I understand the scriptures well, nobody who has a bit of them surrendered to the devil is a candidate for heaven. Of course, the unfortunate thing is in hell, you did so much work for the Lord, but you left a bit. So when you're in hell, People that were totally sold to the devil, and you that was only with the devil for a short bit will be in the same hell, same temperature, because you were involved in God's work in half measures. You did not surrender your life in totality to God's control. How can you actually do everything to the full extent? I think the first thing I suggest is you need to hate mediocrity. Refuse the spirit of accepting things just because they have reached an acceptable level. Let it be your philosophy of life that if anything is worth doing, we must do it at its best. If that's your philosophy, then you will not touch something unless you can do it well. And whatever you touch, you will do it to your best of ability. Remember, I'm not suggesting that what you do is the best in the world, but it's the best you can make yourself. So that you don't feel like, if only I had worked harder, this thing would have been better. No, you know you did your very best. So the first thing is hate mediocrity, commit yourself to always do the very best. I think the second thing that will help you to actually not have these half measures is don't do it for yourself. Because if you are doing it for yourself, then you can also decide this is acceptable. Everything you do as per Colossians 3 verse 17, do it as unto the Lord. And when your service or your product are not being done for self but for God, then chances are God's standard are higher. You will operate at God's standard. May the Lord help us not to have certain parts of within our boundaries undone, so they act as barbs that will disturb us for the rest of our lives. May the Lord point out areas in our lives where we are not totally surrendered, and therefore we are not working as per His calling and direction. May the Lord help us to know that our lives are not about us. We were not created to meet our needs. Our needs are too few. You don't need the whole 24 hours day to actually achieve your purpose. If all you live is for your own food. But you are created to be of impact to the rest of mankind. And therefore it means that you are not living for self, you are living for God. And because God has no needs, it is God's people you serve. And if you are going to serve God's people to God's glory, then it means whatever you do, you'll be motivated to do it to God's standards and to the benefit of the people who are your target group, whom you feel called to help. When I say helped, maybe the product will be sold. Maybe they'll pay for it. But still you have improved their lives. You have added value to their lives. And that's why you do what you do. You do what you do to bring God glory and to benefit the rest of mankind. And that's why you are alive. If that's why you live your life, then you will do your very best to produce the very best, because that's what will please the Lord.